Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. Okay, so if you've ever thought that, building real wealth or becoming a leader means you need a pile of cash to start or some fancy title or just plain luck, well, this deep dive is definitely for you. Today, we're digging into something a bit different. It's a fable, actually, Jojo the Jackal. It's set in this beautiful fictional African kingdom, Zamunda, where huge baobab trees touch the sky. Our mission here is to take this story. It seems simple, right? About a jackal with absolutely nothing and pull out the practical steps it offers for building wealth and leadership, all through this idea of stewardship.
Yeah, and what's fascinating about this source is how it completely flips the script on where you start. Usually we think wealth building starts with stuff, money, property, something tangible. But JoJo's story, it just sidesteps all that. It says very clearly, the real starting point, the asset everyone has or can get, is trust. So we're going to break down how you actually earn that trust and, manage it carefully until it grows into real ownership. Tangible stuff.
Okay, let's zero in on that starting from zero part. Jojo the Jackal. The story hammers this home. It says he didn't own anything. Not a cave, not a catch of land, not even a shiny pebble, nothing.
Absolutely nothing material.
But then, straight away, the story gives him this huge edge. It says, and trust, little one, is where all true wealth begins. That's the core idea. But honestly, it feels a bit weird when King Tembo the elephant needs a helper, right?
It does feel counterintuitive, and that's kind of the brilliance here. So King Tembo's got this big issue. The rains are late, which basically signals a crisis is coming. Resources are going to get scarce. He gathers all the young animals. He needs someone to manage the kingdom's critical stuff, food, paths, the basics.
And who turns up?
Well, you get the expected candidates. The roaring lion cubs, all muscle. The monkeys doing backflips, showing off their agility. They're selling their immediate power. They're flashing.
Right, the strong ones, the talented ones.
Exactly. But Tembo picks Jojo. And his reason is amazing. He says, you may not be the strongest, but you are faithful.
Whoa, hang on. Faithfulness over, raw talent or strength, especially when there's a crisis looming. Isn't that a massive risk? If a drought's coming, wouldn't you want the biggest, toughest animal managing the food? Is the source saying reliability trumps immediate capability?
That's precisely the point where the source pushes back against maybe our modern way of thinking about leadership or even hiring. Tembo's not just looking for a quick fix for the drought. He's looking for someone who will honor the assets, not just control them. Maybe even a successor down the line.
Ah, okay. So it's a longer game he's playing.
It seems so. The choice isn't about brute force or dazzling skill. It's about tested reliability, proven faithfulness. It suggests that for a wise leader, that track record of doing what you promise, even with small things, that's the real indicator of who should manage important assets. Jojo's reputation for just being reliable, that was his killer resume, basically.
Got it. So Jojo lands the role. But it's stewardship, not ownership, not yet. His job. Look after the granary, feed the hungry, keep the forest paths clear. And he makes this promise, this core principle we're looking at. I will treat it all as if it were my own.
And that single sentence, that's the whole philosophy right there. Stewardship in this story isn't just passively watching something, it's actively treating what you're responsible for, even though it's borrowed, technically, with the same energy and care as if you owned it outright. It's about the specific things you do when managing stuff that still belongs to someone else on paper.
Right. And the story gives us these really concrete examples. It shows stewardship is about the details, done with integrity.
Exactly. It's not just Jojo watched the food.
No, it says he counted every nut and berry. That's intense.
Super intense. And he fixed broken fences. He didn't wait for things to fall apart.
Preventative maintenance, basically.
Totally. And it wasn't just the main stuff either. He even helped the bees when their hive got knocked down in a storm, taking care of even the small, maybe overlooked assets.
And these actions are vital, aren't they? The story points out what he didn't do, too.
Crucial. It stresses he didn't eat more than his share and didn't show off.
No entitlement, no grandstanding.
Right. He just served. Quietly and apparently joyfully. This wasn't a chore for him. And this combination, the attention to detail and the lack of ego, that's what gets noticed by the wise ones.
Like the old owl.
Yes, the old owl, who's sort of the symbol of wisdom in Zamunda. The owl observes, Jojo carries the heart of a king.
Meaning he's already acting like a ruler.
Pretty much. The owl sees Jojo demonstrating the character needed for big responsibilities, not when he has the power, but when he's just serving. And the source sums it up perfectly. Stewardship is treating borrowed things with honor, and then this kicker. It's when you take care of something as if it belongs to your future. It's all about that long-term perspective.
Caring for things as if they belong to your future. Wow, that really sets up the big test, doesn't it? The great drought. The story makes it clear this was the moment of truth. Rivers drying up, trees suffering, animals panicking, high stakes.
Absolutely. Crisis time. And this is where Jojo's quiet, consistent work pays off. It reveals the substance of his management. While everyone else is scrambling, Jojo's preparations actually hold the kingdom together.
Because he'd been counting those nuts and berries all along.
Exactly. The granaries were full because of that meticulous work during the good times. The forest paths were clear, so supplies could still move. Even the bees, which might seem small, had shelter because he'd helped them earlier. They're vital for future harvests, right?
So the drought didn't make Jojo successful. It just showed everyone the results of his discipline. Discipline that had been compounding quietly.
You nailed it. The crisis revealed the character and competence built over time.
And then comes the payoff, the reward for this proven ability. King Tembo steps down from his throne, this stone throne, and places his crown beside Jojo. His words are simple but pack a punch. You are faithful with little, now rule with wisdom.
Boom. Jojo the Jackal, who owned nothing, becomes Jojo the Just, the ruler.
Incredible.
And this, right here, is the story's main argument about how real wealth is built. The core lesson is, in real life, this is how wealth begins, not by getting more, but by managing what you already have.
So managing your current small paycheck well is the training ground for managing a fortune later.
That's the idea. Managing your tiny apartment with care is how you learn to manage a huge estate. It's about proving your capability at the current level.
Okay, so let's translate this. How does this path look today for us? The source lays out this progression. Trust grows into leadership. Leadership grows into ownership. And ownership, that's the beginning of a kingdom. How do we connect Jojo's journey to someone listening right now wanting to build their own, kingdom?
Oh, the parallels are direct, especially in business or even personal finance. Think about Jojo securing the granary. That's top-tier inventory management, supply chain logistics, risk management.
Right. And he needed that long-term view, anticipating the drought, strategic planning.
Exactly. Strategic planning 101. And when he finally gets ownership, it's not like a lottery win. It's earned equity. He'd basically optimized the kingdom's core operations and proved they could withstand shocks. He de-risked the entire system through his stewardship.
So it's like managing a small budget today. If you treat, say, $100 with that same meticulous care, track it, use it wisely, maybe even make it grow a little.
You're building the skills, the trustworthiness needed to handle $100,000 or more.
Jojo's full granary is like what? Stable cash flow?
Yeah.
Or passive income from assets you've managed well?
Precisely. He didn't just get handed the crown. He earned the right to benefit from the results of his own careful work. The long-term returns on diligence.
It really flips the script. It means if you want to be an owner someday, you need to start acting like a super responsible steward right now.
That's the takeaway. Your current responsibilities, however small, are your training ground and your audition.
And the source really brings this down to earth, doesn't it? It hits you with these direct questions about your everyday life.
Yeah, it makes that connection very explicit.
It asks things like, are you careful with what you have, even if it's small? Do you clean your room like it's a palace? That one always gets me.
Yeah.
Do you share your toys like a wise leader? I mean, they sound like kids' questions.
But they're profound, right? They're the modern versions of counting nuts and berries or fixing fences. They're about your fundamental approach to responsibility.
They're the practice drills.
They really are. If you're, say, constantly messy or miss deadlines or don't take care of borrowed things, you're essentially failing to build that core currency trust that buys you leadership opportunities later.
But every time you handle something well, even something small,
Like saving a bit of money consistently, or really following through on a promise to help someone, or taking good care of something someone lent you, you're proving you're ready for more. You're building that faithful with little track record.
the main instruction from the story is so simple but tough. Start small. Be faithful.
It really boils down to that.
So the big insight here is that wealth, real wealth, starts not with getting more stuff, but with how you manage the stuff or responsibilities you already have, especially managing borrowed things or small things as if they were already huge and important.
Exactly. Jojo showed he was fit to run a kingdom, not by conquering one, but by treating the king's assets with the honor and care of a ruler before he was one. And the implication is powerful. everyone listening already has the starting materials. You have some level of trust you can build on, some small responsibilities you can manage better. That's where you start building your own kingdom, whatever form that takes for you.
Hmm. Which brings us to that final thought to chew on.
Yeah, so if we take the source seriously when it says ownership is the beginning of a kingdom, then it follows that maybe the smartest investment you can make right now, today, is in becoming fundamentally more trustworthy. So the question for you to think about is, what small, currently borrowed responsibility in your life, maybe it's how you handle your money, maybe it's a commitment at work or to your family, maybe it's just taking care of something that isn't yours. What one thing could you start treating with the absolute meticulous honor of Jojo the Just, King Tembo's steward? Starting today.
That's a great challenge. It turns responsibility from a burden into an opportunity, doesn't it? And hey, for anyone wondering what happens next with Jojo, the source does hint at Jojo's next adventure after the drought. New challenges, maybe.
Seems likely. Always more to manage, right?
Definitely something we'll keep an eye out for. Maybe for another deep dive. Okay, that was a fantastic look at the surprising wisdom hidden away in the fable of Jojo the Jackal. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.